effective if you allow them to do so. Because often what we hear being promoted is that women get paid 80 cents on a dollar. And that's true. But it's a certain group of women who get paid 80 cents on a dollar. But today we're going to unpackage why this day is so important, what it means to Black women in America, what we can do to make a difference, and how can we be a part of shifting that narrative and being a part of the change so that the next generation has a better chance of creating the financial future and sustainability and dependability that they so deserve. We'll be back in a moment with the next edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. All right. I was thinking today about actually having a guest on, but there's so many different lived experiences that we can sit into and unpackage. But I felt that it would be better if we just look at the whole picture of what it means when we're talking about Black pay, Black women's equal pay day. So today, as I mentioned, is July 9th. And Women's Pay Equity Day, which was just celebrated in March, is showing that a white woman, has to work an extra 3 months to earn equivalent to what a white man earns. Whereas Black women have to work an extra 7 months to make the equivalent. So let's unpackage. What does that really mean? And why should we care? Well, I'm a Black woman, and I care not just for what it means to me and my family today, but what it means for the next generation. What opportunities will not be afforded because we're struggling with trying to bridge that divide to make up for what's not yet there. One of the things when we think about pay and equity is Black women they face a double hit, right? We're women, and there's that pay gap there, but then we're Black women. So what we're doing is this whole initiative is to create a call to action. It's to have people lean in to become more aware of what's going on and how these pay inequities may be impacting a certain group of people, but it does have a ripple effect throughout our communities when we're looking at sustainability, right? When we're looking at providing access to different things in life in order to create that quality of life that people are seeking, right? Whether it's access to education, healthcare, jobs, transportation, wellness facilities, food, to have the option, to have the choice to decide and not be placed in a situation where it almost appears as though the choice is taken from you. Now, I don't say this to come across as though Black women are not empowered. We are. But we live in a system that has created limitations, some roadblocks, not insurmountable, but the roadblocks are there. But we know that if we champion a cause and bring this rallying cry around this concern collectively as humanity, as the greater American population, we will begin to see shifts. One thing that is quite amazing is one of the fastest growing entrepreneurial groups in the United States are Black women. However, we are challenged with getting funding, with getting resources, partnerships. Why is that? Again, when we're talking about the systems as they are designed, do not necessarily favor people who look like me. But again, the hope is it is not insurmountable. And that's why women's pay, equal pay day is so important. And I apologize, this little error here with the, I think it's interesting when you sometimes upload certain graphics, it shifts. But let's focus to what's on the left. The average Black woman, so remember we were talking earlier about that 80 cents on the dollar. The average Black woman earns just 60 cents for every $1 earned by a non-Hispanic white man. Now that includes full-time, part-time, and part-year workers. If we're looking at just full-time equivalent, then that goes up by 3 cents. So those of us who may be working full-time, we're averaging 69 cents on the dollar. When we're looking at our numbers in the C-suite, they're less than 3%. So again, the opportunity, the access has been restricted or in some cases limited. So again, this is why our voice matters. This is why it's important for us to rise up and to be heard and to be seen and to partner with allies to help promote a shift and change, not just in the narrative, but the actualized experience of having equal pay. So just sit in that for a moment. If one person is earning $1, and in this economy where we've got rising cost of living, your dollar goes much further than my 66 cents. You know, it's obvious. But yet I often hear people say, well, LaWanna, it's all the same, or maybe they should be working harder. In fact, I've even spoken to women in the financial advisory industry, and they're like, well, get another job, spend less, use coupons. Okay, I can spend less. I can get another job, which is going to take me away from my family, which is going to end up taxing me mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I can use coupons and save. But let's address the issue. If I'm doing the same work, can't we just make it equal pay for equal work? In fact, when you go through history in this country, it's amazing to see that since the 1800s, women have been fighting and advocating for equal pay. The right to vote was founded on the principles of equal pay. And today in 2024, we are still shouting equal pay. Now let's talk about, so if a community is earning less, if Black women are earning less, then what does that mean long term? Because often we get focused on the now and we come up with, idiotic solutions, but let's really focus on the long term. So every month, if a person is making, this is based on the 66 cents, every month that means that a woman is earning $1,843 less than her male counterpart. Every year, she is earning $22,120 less than her male counterpart. Now let's sit there with the annual $22,120. What could you possibly do with that extra money? All right, that becomes significant. Even the $1,843 a month can get someone from apartment living to augmenting and now perhaps going into home ownership. Perhaps it can afford advanced education, paying for your children's school, living in a different zip code. Over a 40-year career, we're now looking at almost a $900,000 difference in pay that is not afforded to the average Black woman in America. $884,800 disparity. That's huge. It's unacceptable. But it's happening today in 2024. I want to just give a salute and in recognition to BlackWomenEqualPay.org, who has provided this amazing toolkit and resources so that we can go out in an organized fashion and promote awareness. So again, I want to, and the Equal Rights Administration, I want to say thank you to them for providing these assets as collateral for us to move forward. Now, I've already mentioned the impact of earning less on a monthly, an annual, and a 40-year time frame. 1 out of 4 Black families live in a multi-generational household. That's not abnormal when you're looking at minority families in general. But if 1 out of 4 are living in a multi-generational household, think about now that added financial burden of that woman having to care for parents, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, their own children. It's not just her. So now the 66 cents has to be divided in so many ways that often women are finding that they have more month than they have more money. They're juggling to make ends meet. Perhaps they're maxing out credit cards. We know today in the US, and this isn't just for Black women, but Americans in general have a higher credit card debt now coming out of the pandemic than they did going into the pandemic. Why? Because look at the economic burden. Look at what's happening in our economy. Look at the rising cost of living. Look at the cost of an average starter home. It's starting to become out of people's reach. The rising cost of apartments. So when you factor in all of that, so many people are trying to figure out how to make things work. And to have someone tell you, again, a financial advisor, I was sitting there asking this person, a woman, what would you say to someone who comes to you saying, okay, how can you help me? And to just hear, well, get another job. Cut back on your spending. Use coupons. But never once did they say, wow, we've got to find a way that we can, as a collective, address this greater issue. So what does it do? Well, the impact is real, and it's felt by many. It makes it more difficult for Black women to pay off their student loans. Their loans, perhaps they got loans for their children. If I have less money, it's going to be harder. It's going to take me longer to pay off that loan. It threatens our ability to start a business. As I mentioned, more Black women, the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in business are Black women. The numbers went through the roof during the pandemic. We heard about the great exodus. And women, and Black women in particular, were trying to control their financial fate and are trying to control their financial fate. But you can't start a business on a wish, a hope, and a prayer. It requires resourcing. It requires partnerships, supplier relationships. But if you're not able to get a loan, then you end up bootstrapping. So now you're robbing from your future. Perhaps you're pulling from those retirement accounts, hoping that you can rebuild later through your through your revenue, right? Through your take-home income, through your owner's draw. But then we know what the numbers are when we're looking at the average businesses that fail in the first 3 to 5 years. So again, if women are not poised for success, what are we really doing? What are we really saying to this generation and the ones coming behind us? We can do better. We talked about the cost of living and acquiring a home today, and the growing cost of a starter home. If I'm making less, then it threatens my ability for home ownership. I may not have enough reserves. I may not have the 20% down payment that may be required. Even if I am able to get gift funds for my home, I may not have what I need to sustain the home and maintain the home. So again, when we're thinking about the greater impact of doing the same work and getting less pay, and looking at the lifestyle comparisons between a white man and a Black woman. Again, same work, different pay, lived experiences radically different. More choices on one side, far less on the other. Financial opportunity and less risk on one side, greater risk and financial insecurity on the other side. And when we're talking about security, let's look at retirement. When we look at the numbers of women overall, it's quite staggering, because over 75% of women today say they're not comfortable when it comes to being prepared for retirement. They do not know that they are going to have enough to last in retirement. Women live longer than men. That's a fact. So are we going to outlive our money? It happens. We've all seen older women coming back into the workplace, working at convenience stores, Walmarts, other places to supplement their income. I feel when a person has worked so hard and contributed 40 and 50 years to society, that when they retire, they should be able to relax well, that I have enough to maintain my life, that I don't have to worry about my health needs and concerns, that I can ensure that I have a comfortable and safe and secure place to live, that I have access and the ability to afford healthy choices for myself. That shouldn't be a fight or a struggle or a concern, but so many of our women, as they are aging, are facing that. And the numbers of women in color are staggering in comparison. So this is why Black Women's Equal Pay Day is so important. This is why this conversation is so important. This is why individuals who are out there advocating and trying to create an ally and a community around causes such as this is so important. Change isn't going to happen in a vacuum. It's going to happen through action, dialogue, shifting the narrative, changing systems, and doing so in a collective way that gets results for everyone. I want to close with just encouraging you to think about pay equity, gender bias and discrimination, pay inequities overall when it comes to women. And also think about that there is a difference when we look at the varying groups of women. So I mentioned that white women earn 80 cents on the dollar, Black women 66 on the dollar, Hispanic women it's 50 cents on the dollar. When you look at what it will take, how many years it will take for us as Black women to reach pay equity, if nothing changes, it will be 100 years. 100 years. If we don't do something now to shift that trajectory, 100 years for us to see pay equity. White women, it's less than 50. I believe the number is 35. But Black women, 100. And I don't even want to go into the 200 plus years it'll take for Hispanic women. That's frightening. To think that I'm here and in my lifetime, if nothing changes, I will not see that happen for the next generation of Bradfords. We have to rise up and our voice has to be heard. And this is a point that I wanted to pause and recognize and celebrate this day, celebrate the importance of pay equity. I want to encourage you to champion it, to fight for transparency, improved hiring practices in your workplaces. And if you happen to be an employer, think about the choices you can make to make a difference. You can change one life. And if you change one life, I believe you can change the trajectory of the next generation. Well, with that, I'm going to sign off for now. I want to wish you and yours a very, very safe week ahead. I look forward to seeing you next week for another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. This year is going to be packed with some great insight and information. Some experts will be coming to the table. We have some on-site locations of business owners, talking to them about what it was like to start their business, how they overcame certain hurdles. We will be bringing education and resourcing for you to help expand your reach, your impact, your influence, and your income. At the Bradford Group, we have been celebrating 18 years in business this year, 18 years in business. And it wasn't by accident. It wasn't a fluke. In the commercial investment mortgage space, we are here by design, by aligning up with the right partners, with the right lenders, staying educated in our market space, being ready to shift and adjust where we needed to, and being committed to being a part of the solution to create sustainability in our communities. I'll be back in one moment. Again, I'm LaWanna Bradford, host of Business and Financial Raw Talk, your no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators. And if you are interested in being a part of this platform, reach out to us. We would love to have you on the show. If you are a business expert, a financial expert who can bring value to this platform and help provide opportunity and resourcing for individuals, we would love to have you on this show and talk about how you can be a part of the change initiative that we are all about. And I want to put our contact information here. So if you want to learn more about Raw Talk or to be a guest on the show, you can contact me via email, LaWanna@BradfordGroupMTG.com. Again, LaWanna@BradfordGroupMTG.com. Please follow me on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or IG. And with that, I want to encourage you to remember that in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. I look forward to seeing you all next week, and be safe.
Business and Financial Raw Talk, a no-holds-barred forum for leaders and innovators with award-winning business strategist and financial analyst LaWanna Bradford with the Bradford Group. With Raw Talk, we are empowering women to rise and succeed in business and finances, and improve the world for the next generation. Get ready to get raw and real. Live each Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on e360tv.com.